So hi guys, welcome to StoomCast. Today I'm joined by obviously a very special guest. It's James McIntyre, Mr. Scottish Grappling as I call him. James is obviously a purple belt at the GripHouse. Obviously gets training now and again when he can. James outside of Jiu-Jitsu works in the education department, so he's very, very busy doing that, as well as doing obviously the SGIs and obviously all the other competitions as well. So James is probably one of the busiest guys in Jiu-Jitsu that we know of. Very glad to welcome you, James. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, thanks, Stuart. Had a nice quiet day, which is always a bonus. It comes very rarely in my job. I take it when it comes.
Definitely.
Exam time is always brilliant for teachers.
Right. so you're having a good time, a good lazy day.
When you say lazy, just not as much in the way of challenges, shall we say.
Yeah. So James, as I said, thanks again for obviously coming on. Obviously, as I said, we mentioned there, obviously you're a busy guy. You're doing all sorts, not just obviously the education work, but obviously the jiu-jitsu, arranging comps. And again, me and you've spoke, obviously the competition side of things is obviously a big thing, especially the SGIs, because you've got guys coming in and then guys dropping out. You're having to fill in matches and so on and so on. So listen, thanks again for obviously taking the time to speak to me today, James. Now, for you, James, your jiu-jitsu journey, how did that come about for you? How did that start?
Well, it started in 2003, so I'm probably one of these people who has been about really for the infancy of jiu-jitsu in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
I'd previously done karate. I'd done that for a few years, but it was one of these things I didn't really enjoy it as much, and I'd been looking for something different to do, and I'd seen a poster at the karate shop in the Savoy Centre for Boys Gracie Club run by Scott McVeigh.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Stephen Fitzgerald, one of the other guys from my karate club, we went along to try it out one Wednesday night. Classes were running 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock at the Kelvin Hall at that time. So we went along, really enjoyed it, and kind of stuck with it from there. Scott was a blue belt at the time. I don't think there was anyone in Scotland higher ranked than blue belt at the time.
Yeah.
Even Rick Young was a blue belt back then. So I'd been training for about 6-7 months at that point in time, and decided to enter our first competition, which was Roger Brooken's London Open back in, that'd have been 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of the thing that really sparked my interest in organising a competition, because it was an absolute shambles.
Mm-hmm.
We turned up on the day, and it was due to start, I think it was about 10 o'clock. We turned up at 9 o'clock. We're still hanging about back at 11. And one of the guys came up to us and said, "Oh, you here to compete? Yeah. Can you give us a hand putting the mats down?" Didn't even have the mats or anything down.
Right.
So we did that. We were hanging about, and eventually I just happened to be standing at the side of a mat when I heard my name being called.
Mm-hmm.
So no warm-up, no nothing, straight onto the mat. In my match with the guy Jonathan Shorter, who's now a black belt. I think he lives in Australia now, but quite a vocal guy on forums and things. Good Kimura. That was it.
Yeah.
Not any details about whether there was any other matches, because I wasn't even sure what phase of the competition this was or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it and thought, right, we've spent all this money coming down here because, well, we didn't have any alternative. And I thought, you know what, I can do better than this.
Yeah.
So started thinking about it, put on first competition, which was a league format event, Scottish Sub League. Later on in 2004. Wasn't it the best run event? I'll put my hands up, but it was one of these things, and I've used the same approach with every event going forward. What hasn't worked, we've looked at, we've evaluated it, and we've changed it for the next time, and we've built up to where we are at the moment, which is pretty much every event is selling out well in advance of the actual closing date.
Yeah, and I mean, your competitions as well, I mean, they're well known, obviously throughout Scotland. I mean, you and the events, as I've seen, have been getting better and better and better as they went on. And that's one thing, I mean, you do, even the guys when they go on like the Scottish Jiu-Jitsu community page or even the Scottish Grappling page, and if there's maybe something that a competitor, maybe a few competitors weren't happy with, you take that feedback on board, as you said, and then change it for the next time. So, and that's something obviously in the growth that we've seen throughout the years for Scottish Grappling has been absolutely brilliant. So it's definitely an athlete favoured competition. So is that something that you'd always wanted to do when you did that competition? You wanted to arrange competitions and things like that?
Not really. It was one of these ones where I could see that there was a gap, and I knew fine well not everyone could afford to go down to London, because I mean the furthest north you would get a competition at that point in time was for the Carl Tanswell Sub League in Manchester.
Yeah.
Other than that, you were talking Birmingham for the British Open, and as I say, Roger Brookins ones in London, and Mark Walder's Gracie Invitational, which was also down in London. So there was nothing. So, granted, there weren't that many clubs up here at that point in time.
Yeah.
But it was to give people the opportunity to compete at a local level, and then if they wanted to go down and challenge themselves at more national events, they would actually have that experience. Because I know for a fact, my first competition, I didn't have a clue what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And you were going in against guys who, even though they were white belts, they were hardened because they had a lot of competition experience because of the amount of events that there were down in London at that time.
Yeah.
So it was just let's even up the playing field a wee bit.
Yeah, yeah. And was it always, did you always do it with Gary, or when did Gary come into the mix for the competition stuff? Gary Christie.
At first, it was myself. Well, the sub-leagues were always myself. The first time we ran a gi competition was the Caledonian Open, and that was myself and Roberto Atala.
Yeah.
Ran that. That was also the last time I ever attempted to compete at an event I was organising.
Yeah.
I quickly realised that day, after one of the daftest moments you could ever have in competition, that my head only works and focused on one thing at a time, and my head was focused on the competition, so I did something extremely stupid in my match, which Paul McVeigh probably wakes up and shakes his head at night.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically what had happened was the match had started, Paul was cornering me, shouts from the side of the mat, right, I want you to use your wrestling, and I didn't quite hear him, and I turned round and looked at him, at which point the guy shot in and took me down.
Right.
So, yeah, I focus on one thing and one thing only. But no, that event with Roberto, it worked out quite well. I went myself for a few after that, because Roberto wasn't coming back into the UK for various reasons. It was mostly based in Poland at that time.
Yeah.
But organisation, particularly on the day and everything, was really getting to be tricky. And it was quite clear that I needed someone else to come on board Gary had been doing a really, really good job of helping me out on the day events prior to that. So I approached them and said, look, would you be interested in taking this on board full time? And he was. So that's where it's been. Gary is the general on the day.
Yeah.
He deals with a lot of the issues with competitors and smoothing things out that way, while I deal with like some IT stuff and issues with staff, that kind of thing. So we complement ourselves really well.
Yeah. And then obviously as I say, the events. I mean, I didn't really come to your first event until I think, I'm trying to remember, was probably not until I went over to Marcus's, obviously due to politics and things like that at GB. And then when I first came to it, and obviously saw the events, and I thought, wow, this is, I mean, the events were well run. I mean, there's always issues at jiu-jitsu competitions, but I mean, your events were well run. You're very hands-on as well, so if anybody's got issues, then you're always there on the front line to try and sort them out, as well as Gary is as well. I mean, Gary's there. He's usually the first person to see when they walk in the door. So they were always a well-run competition. So, and again, has that just been over the years you've been able to just kind of make everything better or fine-tune everything as you go?
Yeah, it's just, we've been doing that so long now. I mean, we're doing it well over 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
And there's not much that is going to come up that you haven't seen before. I mean, I was a bit surprised to hear about the carry-on at the International Masters at the weekend, where an IT system going down basically ground the whole thing to a halt for a couple of hours and ended up 4 or 5 hours behind.
Yeah, so
you'll never find our system go down for that length of time, because we've always got 3 levels of fail-safe, so that if something goes down, we can kick in pretty much within 5-10 minutes at most, and the backup system, so that everyone's back up and running. It's even better now that Smooth Comp have actually got this offline version of the scoreboard, which means that everything's downloaded onto the laptop, so even if the internet goes down, it can keep running. It's just going to be for like some results and things get uploaded, but that could be a bit more of a delay, but the actual tournament itself can keep going.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been there a couple of times when the systems did go down and they were up very, very quickly. There wasn't really much of a delay, maybe a few minutes tops, and there's never been a delay. So, and again, as I say, that's down to, would you say that's down to you, or would you say that's down to the Smooth Comp systems?
I think it's a mix of both. Smooth Comp we do things, but because my background is IT, I know that I need to have XYZ backup plans so that if something does happen. So we've always got spare laptops, we've always got spare TVs, we've always got the spare Wi-Fi systems that we can kick. Then goes down, we can kick in pretty much straight away and fix it.
Yeah.
But Smooth Comp, the amount of times that Smooth Comp has now actually saved me in preparation for a competition is unbelievable. I can't believe there are still people out there who are using paper-based systems. I used to spend probably about 8 or 9 hours essentially drawing up brackets and drawing up a rough schedule for a competition, and then you would get notification somebody pulled out, so you'd have to go back and redo it, and the amount of time that was lost. Whereas now, somebody pulls out, Smooth Comp automatically updates the brackets and updates the schedules. I don't need to touch anything. Users, if they need to change their weight, can just go in and do it. It's more user-friendly for them as well. It's saving me time, but it's also taking that bit of panic away, because you're not having this whole thing of you need to message the organiser, and wait for them to get back to you in hopes that they get back to you. Some people have been moaning online recently about some events. It's totally independent. They make the change, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no ambiguity on it. You've made that change, you know it's been made.
Yeah. And Smooth Comp, I mean, anybody that's worked at any of your events, Smooth Comp is obviously not just user friendly in that sense of the things, but anybody that uses it for doing the scoreboard and stuff like that, it's very, very user friendly. I mean, you could sit down for literally minutes and then know exactly what you're doing with the system and for the scoring and penalty points, advantages and things like that. So it's very, very user friendly in that sense of the as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, looking at it from an IT point of view, they have got the perfect system set up. And the thing is, the guys are never happy about it. Martin, Rickard and the team, they're constantly evolving the system. They're not happy. You've got the streaming system that's going to be coming online soon. We were initially going to be testing it at the Edinburgh Open, but then the disaster with half the staff not turning up kind of precluded actually getting that up and running. I mean, hopefully we'll have it in place for the Scottish Cup in September, but we'll need to wait and see, because at the moment it's all Apple product based, and most of their systems are Chrome based, so it kind of, but I know they are working on a version for it, but how Smooth Comp has developed from the initial random message I got on Facebook from Mark Jansen asking us if we'd be interested in trying it, to where it is now, where the primary system behind the UEJF Federation system, UKBGJ are using them. I know the IPGJF have spent a lot of time developing their own system, but they maybe want to look into moving over to Smooth Comp after the Barcelona debacle. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously you mentioned the thing about staff. I mean, obviously at the Edinburgh just a few weeks ago, I mean, we obviously had the issues where there was the staffing issues. So and again, you managed to sort that pretty quickly. So again, that's just another added thing that people don't know about competitions. Obviously, people, as a competitor, I mean, I used to go into competitions and I wouldn't even think about what goes on in the background. I would just turn up, I would wait to go on the mat. As soon as my name's called, I would fight, come off, go and get your medal or whatever. But again, a lot of people don't realise what goes on in the background. Obviously, you might have staffing issues, or as you mentioned, there might be IT issues, or changing competitors into different categories due to maybe weight changes and things like that. So how do you deal with that when stuff happens at your competitions?
It's just basically, it depends when it happens. Before it's generally fine, because you're always going to have the opportunity to sort it in plenty of time. If it's staff who've dropped out, you can look to try and get replacements. If it's competitors need to move weight, we're generally pretty good at accommodating it, as long as it's not far too short notice. Generally, when things start to go wrong at the day of an event, that's where you've got to be on your feet. Whether that's just redistributing how you just got your staff deployed, which is what we did at Edinburgh. We could take about half an hour out of the time we had planned to start the tournament, because we needed to make sure that we could get everyone deployed, so that we did have, in particular, the referees and the table staff in place. Want to give a big shout out here to a couple of people who really helped out on that, namely Alan Howcroft, who was able to get me some guys from Stealth Manchester, who did a fantastic job refereeing and working the tables, and also Mike Williams, the CEO of the UKBGJ, who came up from Newcastle, to help out as well, arranging childcare at very short notice.
Yeah.
So really big thanks to those guys for that. But it is just, my whole thing is, you don't panic, you look to see what you can do, and you put that in place so that things are going to run as seamlessly as they can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the competitors don't even know that there is issues. I know that one started half an hour later. But as I said, the good thing about your comps is, if anything happens, nobody knows about it apart from whether it be a member of table staff, a referee, or yourself, Gary Christie obviously as well. So, and that's the good thing. Obviously, you try to keep everything as smooth as possible for the competitors on the day.
I mean, the only thing I can think of where everyone was aware of it was, of course, the fire alarm at Scotstoun in October last year.
Yeah.
Which, in all my years of organising an event, I've never had anything like that happen.
Yeah.
But again, we did have to make some changes on the day, but we got through everything.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to get through. Everyone should be able to get their matches in. And I've never had a situation where I've had to call off a tournament with people not getting their matches.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously the most recent thing that's happened, obviously in regards to Scottish Grappling, is the SGI and the rise of the SGI. I mean, obviously you started the SGI 1. Was a successful competition in regards to the competitors that were there. Again, how smoothly everything ran as well. And then obviously you've just went on and got bigger and bigger every single time. So the SGI, how did that come about for you guys?
Well, we had been thinking about it for a while. Obviously, you'd seen the rise like Polaris, EBI, all these other shows, and Gary and I felt that there was a market for something like that in Scotland.
Yeah.
We had tried a couple of sub-only kind of special attractions at some of our tournaments in the past, which had went down really well.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured that we would do this whole standalone show. We'd run the first one, we'd see how it would go, and then we'd build it from there.
Yeah.
First one went fantastically well. In fact, all of them have went really well in terms of the running and the operation of it on the day. Running up to it, granted, it has caused me no end of stress at times. Some of them, particularly, I think it was SGI 3, I think there was only about, out of the 22 matches in the card, I think there were only 3 of them that didn't change.
Yeah.
But things like that happen. It just seemed to be a really unlucky time for people getting injured.
Yeah.
So the good thing is, we always know that people are desperate to be on the show. Mm-hmm. So all it takes is usually a message to a coach, right? Have you got anyone at this weight interested in this match? And generally it'll be filled within a day, usually.
Well, you see that. So, I mean, you see that with whenever anybody pulled out. I mean, especially the SGI 3. I remember talking to you and you were like, "Oh my God, somebody else has pulled out, and we're having to fill it." But as soon as you put the post on, whether it was the UK Underground or whether it was the Scottish Jiu-Jitsu community, you had a list of people all wanting to do it. And again, that just shows you the success and that people actually want to be on it. So, is that something that you found out?
Yeah, I mean, it is really popular. I mean, we shelved the idea for the under-90 tournament because we wanted to for this one, because we wanted to concentrate on obviously the team event.
Yeah.
But we had some really high levels of interest from it and some really, really good guys. It was just things weren't working out with their schedules, and also we wanted to concentrate on the not content, because I don't want sued by Sakuraba. But basically, of a very similar idea.
Yeah.
Using our own unique rule set. Yeah, I just see it developing further from there. I mean, as it stands, it's going to be a very good platform for any of the Scottish guys who want to get involved in the likes of. You've got Mop's going to be on Grapple Fest. He's got a match confirmed against one of Craig Jones's guys in June. So he's basically undefeated in SGIs, and he's our under-80 champion. I think he's put his name in as well for the tournament that Polaris are doing down at the Body Power Expo.
I saw that.
So it would be great if he could actually get on the main Polaris card, because hopefully that's then going to be quite a few of your guys who are established getting down there, getting on these bigger shows. Yeah.
And that's something, I mean, obviously we've seen over the years. I mean, a lot of the kind of top guys that come out of Scotland all started competing on your events. Obviously, whether it be Glasgow Opens or obviously the competitions in Edinburgh and things like that. And then again, these guys have just progressed through your competitions and went on to whether it be IBJJF champions or British champions, European medalists and things like that. So, and that's something obviously you and Gary have given the guys over the years a platform it's like a platform for them to go on and do even bigger and better things. And obviously you mentioned that there with obviously some of the champions that come through the SGI are now going on to the Polaris and other bigger events as well. So was that always your kind of thought that you wanted to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. That was one of the other things that got me into jiu-jitsu at the time.
Yeah.
And the way the wrestling world works is you've always got these kind of feeder promotions into bigger promotions where guys can go in, they can learn the basics, they can develop. Once they start really showing their talent, that's when they can get involved with the bigger promotions. And that's how I've always seen things. Giving guys the opportunity to develop, show what they can do, and then go and reap the rewards at a higher level. Yeah.
Yeah. And as I say, you've seen that over the years. I mean, we could sit here all day and rattle off people that have come through your shows or come through your competitions that are now going on and doing absolutely fantastic things in the jiu-jitsu world. So for you, one of the kind of most recent things that you've came involved in was the UK BJJA in regards to you're now were you always the director and area officer, or is that something that came about more recently?
No, initially I was child protection officer for the UK BJJ, because obviously that again ties into my education background. Gary was initially area officer, but he wanted to obviously concentrate on more his coaching side of things at the GripHouse, and he didn't really have time for it. So I was asked if I wanted to take it on. I did. So that's where we are now. Obviously, one of my first duties was being handed to the development for the first UK BJJ International Open, which wasn't the success that I'd hoped it was going to be, but time of the year was never going to be the best time for it. And also, location-wise, we're very restricted at the moment in Scotland in terms of venues as to size-wise and the facilities that are available. Ravenscraig is absolutely fantastic in terms of facilities they've got, but in terms of location, it's not the best. It's all right if you're able to drive, but it's very limited in public transport. There's not that much in the way of amenities about it. But we were looking to get the first one off the ground. I had the expertise of running events that had all the smooth comp equipment, so it made sense that I would join with it. We would get out of it what we could. We got decent numbers, not the best I've ever seen at an event up here, but we did bring in some really, really big names. And I have to say, one of the good things about jiu-jitsu is when you're bringing in big names for jiu-jitsu, you can't, quite often, you are not going to meet nicer folk. Every single one of the people that we brought in, whether it was Amelia Buchanan, Tommy Langaker, Venla Lukonen, they were so nice. The amount of conversations I had with them, they were just generally keen to know about Scotland. Strangely enough, Venla and I had a really long conversation about the education system because she's a teacher as well.
Yeah.
So it was just really refreshing. It's not like if you encounter a footballer who's looking at you like you're something that they scraped off their shoe.
Yeah.
They're just down to earth people who are really good at their sport, and they remember the fact that everyone else is taking part in the sport as well, and they're happy to be in places like Motherwell in December, when half the time the residents are only happy to be in Motherwell in December.
Yeah. Now that brings me on a funny story. In fact, I mean, I took Adam Warzinski back to his hotel, and I thought, do you know what? I thought, oh, brilliant! I've got him in the car. He's going to bust out some jiu-jitsu knowledge to me in this 10-15 minute drive from Ravenscraig to his hotel. And for the full time, he never spoke once. He sat on his phone, and we got to the hotel. He's like, "Thanks, mate," and that was it. That was my highlight with him. And I was honestly thinking, this guy's going to give me the some fantastic jiu-jitsu knowledge. It's going to help me. But obviously, at the end of the day, I mean, he'd been there all day, and obviously he's a bit tired and things like that. So the last thing he wants to do is sit and talk to me for 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Although he just won $2,000, so...
Well, that's true. He never even gave me a tip either. I was expecting a tip or something, but I got nothing at all. Obviously, he got his $2,000 and then went back to his hotel, and that was it. So, but I mean, he was still a really nice guy. I mean, throughout the day, he was mingling with people. People were talking to him. Some people got pictures with him and things like that. So, so he was a nice guy in that sense of things. And as you said, you brought in some kind of top guys, some top European guys, some top world guys that came in, and that's only going to make the next event better. The fact that you were able to do that. So, is that something that you feel?
Definitely. As I say, it set the groundwork. Now moving into 2019 and the event down in Cardiff, I mean, we've already got, I don't know if you've seen the announcement today, Fionn Davis has already been announced as she's taking part. She's one of the first 10 people to sign up, actually.
Right.
So we've got probably the hottest star in women's BJJ at the moment. I mean, she's won the Europeans, she won the Nogi Worlds in 2018, Polaris under 55 kilo champion, just become the first European to win at the Brasileiros at the weekend there as well. So you're talking total tear. She's supporting the event. I think we'll just see a continued growth in the high level black belts that are looking to take part. There's good prize money on offer. Cardiff is, from what I gather, a very nice place to visit. Neil Williams, the Wales director, has been bumming it up big style. So I'm looking forward to going down and helping out at the event in October and just see who else is turning up. We do expect it to be a big turnout.
Are we hoping Freddie Sykes turns up, James?
Well, he said he's going to, so we'll see.
For anybody that doesn't know, I mean, Freddie Sykes started a post on the UK Underground about he wanted to go to obviously the first event, but when obviously he looked to the scene where it was, and for whatever reason, obviously he had a big rant on Facebook about it, and then he got in obviously a bit of a heated discussion with you as well as other jiu-jitsu guys in Scotland, and it was more of, I don't know, Freddie's a bit of a lad, so it was probably more of a trolling thing than anything else, but he definitely had a lot of words to say. And then when they announced obviously the Cardiff one, again he had some words to say about that as well, because Freddie's from London and expects obviously a competition of that size to be in London. which it will eventually. I mean, again, obviously with this event, it's going to be going to different places every single time, I'm sure. So it will be in London at some point. So, but yeah, I mean, the heated discussion with Freddie was absolutely hilarious for everybody in the jiu-jitsu community to watch and to read. So, so yeah, we're expecting to see Freddie at the Cardiff one. So we'll all get a laugh, I'm pretty sure, when we see him.
Yeah, I mean, like you, I think pretty much it was a troll fest.
Yeah.
And he got quite a few bites.
Yeah.
I explained the rationale behind it because, as you say, this is a travelling event. It was in Scotland in the first year. It's in Wales this year. Don't know where it will be. It'll either be Northern Ireland or England in 2020. That's still to be decided by the board of directors.
Yeah.
I'll be back in Scotland in 2022, where hopefully I would like to see it. The new medal bank is due to open next year, and size-wise, that would be ideal for a tournament of that level.
Yeah.
The Emirates in Glasgow would also be good. However, their prices are extortionate.
Yes, they're very big. Yeah.
I don't know how actually they get away with that, considering it's a council-run venue, but that's up to Glasgow City Council to look at.
Yeah.
Particularly since they're giving Judo Scotland in free, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Everyone else has got to pay through the nose. But if we can get over the threshold with the sports UK recognition, then hopefully we can maybe even look at that for 2022. I don't know. Yeah.
And then obviously the Emirates. I mean, the Emirates, we're going to see the second Hicks and Gracie Cup in June. Again, and that's something that you're heavily involved in. Obviously, the arranging that, and obviously doing the competition and things like that as well. So, again, how did that come about for you?
Well, I act as a kind of advisor for that. Yeah. Scott McVeigh and I go obviously way back, as I said at the start. Scott was my first instructor. I probably would still be training with Scott, but Scott stopped teaching for a couple of years, and that was how Gary, Paul, etc. get started up with their own classes. Yeah. So Scott's a brilliant guy, always happy to help him out. He approached me with this because obviously the Hicks and Gracie Cup organisation is one of these ones that's been using Smooth Comp right from the start. Yeah. That was where my area of expertise was. So I came on board, we had a few meetings and advice. He basically asked me to look after the kind of running of things on the day, and we obviously sorting out staff and things. So that's basically where that lies. As an event, it's looking to grow. The first one was slap bang in the middle of the summer holidays, which is never ideal because everybody in Scotland is just desperate to get away from the place as soon as summer comes along. Although last year we could have stayed about and get better, and in a lot of places you went on holiday. But it's been moved into June. We're hopeful that the numbers will pick up. The addition of the no-gi divisions as well should also be of benefit. I mean, I had a quick look at the entries there, and they've grown substantially from the previous week for Scott and I, and Mark Carberry, who's the other guy who's the kind of driving force for it with Scott. I'd looked at numbers, but it's jumped quite a fair bit since then, so I'm hoping that continues, because the more events we've got up here, the better. Certainly the less that I'm not directly running, the better, because that way I can cut down the amount of grey hairs on the belt. Definitely. And then
for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, the Hicks and Gracie Cup, I mean, a lot of the competitors last year, in regards to the rules, I got caught out last year because the rules are slightly different for the Hicks and Gracie Cup in regards to, I believe, advantages and things like that. So is that something you could tell us a bit more about, James?
Yeah, the main differences in terms of the rule set are there are no advantage points. So it's just your standard awarding a point, so your 4 points for a mount, back mount, 2 points for a takedown, etc. The other thing is pulling guard is a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pull guard, you automatically are one penalty down.
Yeah.
So you need to be more aggressive. You need to really have your takedowns sharp going into this event. It just follows on from Hickson's own philosophy. You would never really see Hickson pulling guard. He was always aggressively chasing a takedown and then working aggressively. So that's, again, there's no advantages. Don't win a match with advantage. You win it by submission and you win it decisively.
Yeah.
By gaining a dominant position.
And that was a lot of competitors kind of got caught out last year because of it. Because obviously I watched a few of the matches and not just white belts and blue belts, but I mean black belts as well. Got caught out. I watched a match between, I think it was John Nicholson and I can't even remember.
Holland.
Yeah, and I can't remember if it was an advantage or there was something happened during the match and somebody, I'm sure it was John, got a penalty point for, I think he pulled guard or he done something like that and he got a penalty point, and that's how the fight ended. And obviously John came off thinking, well, what had happened there? I was the more aggressive and things like that, because he was the one that was on the bottom trying the submissions and so on and so on. But that's how the fight ended. It was a penalty point that he lost on. And obviously when he came off, it became apparent at that point that the rules were slightly different. So I'd say it caught a lot of people out last year. So obviously this year, obviously the guys, anybody that's going to the event, just kind of look up on the rules, just make sure you know exactly what you're doing, make sure you know how you're going to win it and things like that. So but it'll suit a lot of people. I mean, it's because obviously a lot of people in Scotland are always going for the submission. We see that at the SGIs, we see that at other competitions as well, and that's something in Scotland. We've got that game where we're always going to go for the submission. So yeah, anybody that's going, just keep an eye out on the rules. Just make sure you know what you're doing when you get there. And then for you, James, what do you see for the future for obviously your events and things like that?
Just continuing along the same kind of vein that they are in, we're kind of reaching a limit in what we can do with the facilities and things that we've got.
Yeah.
We're at a point where 2-day events are really the only kind of option that would allow us to grow. But we've asked the community about that. The community don't support it, so we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So it does mean that we'll be having to proceed with the numbers caps that we've got. If people's opinion change on that, then we'll look at doing it. I mean, I did have a ridiculous comment about, oh yeah, that's just so you can make more money from us. Actually, no.
Yeah.
If we're having to book a hall for 2 days instead of one and pay staff for 2 days instead of one, it's going to cost us a lot more money.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing doesn't add up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not in this for the money. I've got a very well-paid job. I do this for the growth of the sport.
Yeah. I mean, nobody that's the only people that are making big money is the IBJJF. Obviously with their comps, they're making absolute fortunes. So I mean, jiu-jitsu competitions as a whole, local competitions and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to retire on what you make from a local competition.
No. I mean, anything that we do get in is basically put straight back into equipment. I mean, you just need to look at how our equipment has developed over the time we've been using SmoothCom. We started off small monitors, tablets for scoreboards. We're now using laptops, full HD TVs, the works. The handheld devices for the runners as well. Obviously, every runner's got a handheld device that brings up all the matches and who's next to come on and things like that. And you also, again, recently, before you were hiring the mats, the rollout mats from down south, and then obviously you invested in your own mats, obviously the jigsaw match.
So again, obviously extra expense there. So, and again, the guys see that. I mean, well, I certainly see it. I mean, every event we go to, I'm fortunate enough to be behind the scenes with you, so I can see all the stuff that's coming in, all the new things that are coming in and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, the rollout match, we were getting them down south were great. The only problem was there had been a few issues from time to time with we'd arranged for them to be up and set up the night before, and that hadn't happened, and we were scrambling about trying to finish the set up on the day of the event, which is a no-no for me. Yeah. Everything should be ready to go for the competitors coming in. So we had to look at it. Financially, we couldn't afford to go to the rollout match. We did look at it. So that may change in the future, but the jigsaw mats, they're really good quality. They allow us to basically run an event anywhere now as well. As long as we've got a big enough space, we can get in, because the likes of the event at Edinburgh, we wouldn't have been able to do that before. Simply because they didn't have the mats, or potentially the amount of times that we couldn't put events on at the times we wanted because McIntyre UK had a booking already.
And we always have fun. I mean, when we, I mean, at the end of the event in Edinburgh, when we were putting the mats in the van at the end, I mean, that was the funniest thing that obviously I'd ever seen. Is obviously we've got all these jiu-jitsu guys trying to put mats in the back of a van, and then obviously Gary with the handbrake and all that. So it was the funniest thing I'd ever been involved in. Do you know what I mean? So.
You were fully expecting the Benny Hill tune to be playing at points in that.
And again, obviously, the guys that you have behind you, I mean, the guys that you bring in for staff, obviously you and Gary, I mean, everybody kind of mucks in and does their bit. We're always there. I mean, the guys are there at the end of the day, and they're loading the van back up, putting all the stuff back in the van, putting the TVs away, putting everything away, which again is something that, as I say, the competitors don't see. Obviously the opening of the competition, and then obviously the final part of the competition as well. So, I mean, you guys, as I say, you and Gary have done absolutely wonders over the last kind of, what did you say, about 12, 13 years since the first Glasgow competition?
The Caledonian Open would have been 2006, 2007. So you're talking 12, 13 years.
So as I said, over the years, you guys have done absolutely fantastic for the jiu-jitsu community as a whole in Scotland. Certainly put us out there anyway. And a lot of people that don't know you, James, forget the fact that obviously you as well as obviously you've got the education stuff you're doing, the UK BJJA, doing all the competitions, the SGIs and so on. You do obviously get your chance to train as well, and you're a purple belt. So again, that's something not a lot of people know. So again, how is obviously your training? Where do you see yourself in the next few years?
Ideally, I want to get back to where I was kind of pre-2010. I used to train all over the world. I used to go out to San Diego quite regularly and train with Rodrigo Medeiros. Those of you who don't know Rodrigo Medeiros, he's one of the head instructors in BJJ Revolution team, and he's probably the most technical instructor I have ever trained with. Super nice guy as well, could not do enough for you. So I used to go out there and train on a regular basis. I went to Brazil in 2011. Again, we were doing a camp down there, and I was also due to compete in the International Masters when that was held in Rio. While I was there, I injured my back 3 days before the competition. Totally innocuous. Again, rolling with a guy who I knew from San Diego. He moved down there. It was the first time we'd encountered on the trip. So we're having a leisurely roll. We're going to try to kill each other. I was midway through a sweep and I noticed we were going to bang into the wall. He'd a hit his head. So I tried to adjust it. and something went in my lower back,
mm-hmm.
and I realised right away it was bad,
mm-hmm.
because I basically had no real kind of oomph at all in my back,
yeah,
and it just get progressively worse over the next few days.
mm-hmm.
So that was me. Wasn't competing. Basically was trying to get by in combination with whatever painkillers I could get for the pharmacist, and copious amounts of beer and caipirinhas
right.
to try and dull the pain.
Yeah.
Although all I ended up with that was I ended up missing the first 2 days of the International Masters because I was that badly hungover I couldn't get out of bed.
Right, okay.
So eventually I abated enough and I get back into training, but it kept flaring up, and then I think it was 2014, it flared up really, really badly,
mm-hmm.
and I basically lost most of the use of my left leg for a period of time.
Yeah.
I was having to walk with a cane,
mm-hmm.
and went to see Danny Ray at Visual Effect. He was able to do some stuff to get it back on, like stop working everything.
Yeah.
And he said to me at the time, he says, I think you've slipped the disc.
Yeah.
So I went to the GP. They were absolutely useless. You've just got a week back.
mm-hmm.
It flared up again. Danny wrote me a referral. Thankfully I had Bupa this time.
Yeah.
And went, got an MRI. Consultant took one look at it and went, no, we need to operate on this,
mm-hmm.
because my left leg was pretty much useless. I was going to jits when I could,
yeah.
but I couldn't close a guard, I couldn't play half guard, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So got the surgery on that, was out for about 6 months, but it's been pretty much a perfect recovery from it.
mm-hmm.
But I've still got a little bit of numbness in my left leg at times, but there's none of the pain, there's none of the debilitating conditions. But over that time I put a lot of weight on, and just things got hectic with work. So ideally I really want to be able to get a good run of training, no injuries, no other health scares, because with a family heart condition that flared up, unfortunately killed one of my cousins, and I get the kibosh put training for a while for that, while I get XYZ medical test carried out to make sure that I don't have it. Thankfully I don't have it, because ending with a kind of ticking time bomb like that is just scary. So yeah, just hoping to really get back into it, possibly get away to train as well. I mean, I had hoped Rodrigo was over in Dublin and at the start of April there, and I had really hoped to go over and do that. However, it did coincide with when we were supposed to be leaving the EU under Brexit, so there was no chance I was booking flights to a European country, and just in case that was all.
Yeah, you didn't get in.
So that fell through, but hopefully I'll see him next year when he's back in Dublin, or maybe even persuade him to come back over to Scotland for a visit, because, as I say, in terms of the guy's knowledge and everything, he's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And then for you, being obviously the front seat for Scottish Jiu-Jitsu over the years, obviously being at obviously all the competitions, if you had to pick one person out of every competitor you've seen over the years, who's been your favourite person to watch coming out of Scotland? Now, I know it's difficult because, as I say, we see so much talent coming out of Scotland, again, over the last so many years. But if you had to pick one person that was your favourite person to watch?
That is a really tough one, because quite often we get a lot of guys for the North East England as well.
Yeah.
And obviously seeing guys like Ellis Younger, Jordan Cooper, competing with us on a regular basis are phenomenal to watch.
Yeah.
In terms of Scottish guys, probably I'd have to say Shaz.
Right.
Because he's just, the growth you've seen in Shaz Shaz coming through in competitions where initially Shaz is one of the most boring people on the planet to watch in a competition.
Yeah, yeah.
He would win back a couple of points and that was it. But he's continually growing his game, so to a point where he was absolutely destroying pretty much every European division at his weight at IBJF comps as a purple belt, and he started to medal again at brown. I think the guy's just going to get continually better. And also, if I throw in another name, Craig's McIntyre Mop. I think he's really found his niche in sub-only jiu-jitsu. Craig is an MMA fighter, was always a guy who was thinking about the finish and not just maybe a tactical one. So maybe matches where he didn't do as well as he could have because he's seen an opportunity for a finish, going for it. The other guy's been able to get out of it. He's ended up in a bad position. He's ended up losing a decision. But that's not an effect it has in sub-only. So he's constantly chasing the finish. I think he'll do well in that match in Grapple Fest. A tough match for him, but I think he'll do really well. And if he gets into this Polaris qualifying tournament, he'll be a handful for anyone he comes across.
Definitely.
Particularly with those silly long arms and dust chokes from left, right, centre.
The neckties and stuff. I mean, Mop's one of these guys. I mean, when we talk about finishing, I mean, he can finish you from anywhere with anything. And we've seen that again over the years watching Mop coming up, obviously through the jiu-jitsu stuff and all that. So, but yeah, no, two good people. I mean, Shaz can definitely. I mean, Shaz, I think I've only rolled with Shaz once, and I knew he was going easy on me. So, but good tough roll, really tough roll. And he's done wonders in the IBJJF world. I mean, everywhere he's went, he's winning something. So again, obviously being a brown belt now, he's going to go on and hopefully continue doing what he's been doing through purple belt and stuff like that as well. So, but yeah, two brilliant picks there, James. And for you then, final thing from me then, James. So, again, another tough question for you. But if you were not doing jiu-jitsu, okay, you had absolutely no involvement in jiu-jitsu, what would we be seeing you doing instead?
I don't know. I'd maybe still be doing karate. I don't know. Because I think it was one of the contributing factors in weakening my back because of the weird, crazy, low-down stances and things you had to do in it. I'm honestly not really sure about that. I mean, I'd maybe be doing a bit more work for, as well as being involved in the actual teaching side of education, I do a lot of work for the EIS, the Teachers Union. So possibly I did have the opportunity to go full-time into a union role, but I felt with various other things that I had at the time, that wasn't worthwhile. So possibly I could have been doing that. It's, I say, sport-wise, definitely not football because I'm terrible at that. And Thai boxing, my side's too poor, so as long as somebody tried to hit me on one side, they would always manage to do it because I'm short-sighted in one eye and long-sighted in the other, which is a weird combination.
Right, okay. So that's brilliant. I mean, listen, thank you again, James, for obviously taking the time to speak to me. As I said, I know you've got a very busy schedule with the numerous things that you're doing. So, but yeah, I mean, the next event for you is going to be SGI 5, I believe, next weekend, yeah?
Yeah, a week on Saturday.
So a week on Saturday. That's where we're going to see the, hopefully see the 8-team elimination tournament as well. That's, and again, we've got a lot of good teams in that. There's obviously 8 fantastic teams from throughout Scotland that are going to be competing in that, which...
And England now. We've got 2 English teams in.
Right, okay, so we've got a couple of English teams in. So who's the teams that you're going to be having on there, James?
So, in terms of the teams that we've got, we have got... There's a team from the GripHouse.
Mm-hmm.
There's a team from Marcos Nardini.
Mm-hmm.
Straight Blast Jim Aberdeen have got a team.
Yeah.
Rick Youngs have got a team. Dundee MMA have a team.
Mm-hmm.
We also have 12 Gauge MMA from Manchester.
Yeah.
I've got a team entered. That's Mark Box, the World Cage Warriors Champions team. North East Jiu-Jitsu have got a team entered.
Yeah.
And the final team is Higher Level.
Right.
I don't know how I could forget about that. James Dillon's going to kick me in the unmentionables next time he sees me.
Yeah.
So I don't know all the participants yet.
Yeah.
But I've seen some of the teams, and there are some really, really big names who are taking part. There's some guys who you maybe not heard of as much who are absolute killers.
Yeah.
But you get guys who are bona fide superstars in the sports that they are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the announcements that I got earlier, because we are actually going to be doing some of the team announcements later on, but I can confirm that Scott Malone, who just fought for the Cage Warriors Bantamweight title, will be representing the MMA.
Nice one, nice one. So another big name, certainly another big Scottish name coming through as well. To obviously compete on that night. So, but it's looking like obviously the teams that are in there. It's looking like a really, really good bunch of guys that are going to be coming through from all over. And it's going to be very, very good to watch. Anybody that's ever seen, whether it be the quintets or even the EBI stuff, where they obviously do the team events, there's absolutely fantastic setup. So it's going to be absolutely brilliant to be kind of sitting there front row watching that as it goes on. So yeah, next Saturday, guys. If you don't have tickets, James, where can we get tickets from?
Tickets are on sale from helmtickets.com. If you just go on there, if you search the local event, SGI will come up. So there's your standard tickets are £25 for adults. There's also special group discount tickets available as well. Yeah,
yeah. Is that the same? Was it the 5 for the price of 4? £100
yeah, 5 for the price of 4 and 10 for the price of 8.
Right. So yeah, guys, and are you still doing, James, the pay on the day as well? Are the people still allowed to do that, or have they got to buy their tickets directly?
We prefer it people bought them directly. That way we know how much to stock the bar. Because after all, as an event in Scotland, we have to get our priorities right.
Yeah.
And if there's not enough drink, folk are going to complain.
Yeah, and that's the thing that was it SGI 4 you started that, or was it SGI 3? The bar?
3.
Right, so...
3 was the first one we ran the bar at.
Yeah, so obviously the bar's there as well, guys. Because I know, again, that was feedback that you took on board from what people were saying. Because again, I remember you coming out and saying, would people like a bar at the place? And obviously the great number of people in Scotland voted, and yeah, we got a bar at SGI 3, SGI 4, and obviously going on to SGI 5 as well.
Mostly Andy Baker, I have to say. I think he voted about 20 times for that one.
Right. Andy wants he wants a bottle of beer in between his fights, do you know what I mean? Because obviously he's been he's been at a few of them now, so he just wants a beer before he goes on the mat. Well, listen, James, thank you again, obviously, for taking the time to speak to me. It's been an absolute pleasure. A pleasure hearing your journey, and obviously the journey of Scottish grappling from the beginning. So, yeah, listen, I'll see you next Saturday anyway, James.
Right, thanks again, Stuart.
All right, sir. Thank you. You have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, guys, that was James McIntyre. James McIntyre, as I said, not a lot of people know James is a purple belt at the GripHouse. As I said, not had a lot of time to train due to injuries and obviously other things that's going on in his life. So, But definitely be good to see James getting himself back on the mats and things like that. I say James and Gary Christie have been two of the guys in Scotland outside gyms, because obviously we know the gyms, coaches and stuff like that have done a lot for guys throughout Scotland, but James and Gary Christie have certainly played their part in the success or the growth of Scottish Jiu-Jitsu over the years to where we are today. And obviously these guys are going to be, again, instrumental in the future success for Jiu-Jitsu in Scotland as we go on. So obviously looking forward to seeing more from James in the future, and obviously James's competitions through Scottish Grappling. So listen guys, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.